Colossians 3:23, that's a good one, says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart. And I think that's super important as working for the Lord, not for human masters. And so I think it's really important to have a greater purpose in what you do.
Hello and welcome to Pillars of Wealth Creation, where we talk about creating financial success with a special focus on business and real estate. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. Now, let's get to it.
Hey, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer, and we got another solo episode. So I am going to talk about I asked my daughter, I said, what do you want me to talk about? And she said, I said, what question do you have that I should talk about on the podcast? And she said, well, I want you to talk about how God influences your work and your job and your business. I want to know how does God influence you? And so I thought about that and I said, well, sounds good. So my what I'm going to start with is just how God influences. I'm a Christian, so it was God and Jesus, and but most of you listening probably have some sort of faith or belief in the universe being a power or whatever it might be. So um, there's things that influence you, and I think it's really important for me. I think it's important being a Christian for God to influence my work, my business, for Jesus, for me to think about how that associates to my life, but my core values and beliefs, which again are driven by my faith. But for you, your core values, your beliefs, those should truly drive how you do work and how you do business, and should show up really in every aspect of your life. And I think that's really important. I think when you're thinking about how you're going to be a business owner, how you're going to be successful, what you're going to do, you should really make sure, of course, that you're following those core values and beliefs. Because if you're not following those core values that you hold true, that you know to be true for you, then to me, you're causing a lot of friction, and you're causing what's not going to feel comfortable. You're creating something that maybe you're doing it because it's working. Maybe you're doing it because somebody else told you to do it. You're just following um, the wrong path. And it doesn't mean that it's illegal. It doesn't mean that it's immoral, whatever it might be. But if it's not truly hitting on kind of your core beliefs and why you're doing business and what you're in it for, again, you're working against the grain, and you're really not, in my opinion, going to get the traction that you should. People who are successful, and the more successful people, I feel like are very driven on what they're creating, why they're doing it. Uh, it comes down to the why again, like what you're doing, why are you creating it, and the impact that you're making. So how does God influence my work? Again, it's about the impact. It's about the impact that I am creating. I look at the book of Proverbs. It's a book that I read a lot, and I really like. To me, it's my favorite business book, and it just talks. If you read Proverbs, whether you're a Christian or not, a Jew, a Christian, if you've read Proverbs, there's a lot of really good things in there that talk about business, and I think a couple of verses that for me it's Proverbs 14:23, all hard work brings a profit, but mere talk leads only to poverty. So being distracted, talking, about, oh, I'm gonna one day do this, right? That doesn't lead to profit. That doesn't lead to creating something beneficial. Being distracted all the time, focusing on the wrong things. No, actually working and doing that and taking action is what's going to create results. And that's very true. The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty. And that's Proverbs 21, 5. So again, like, look, do your due diligence, create your plans, uh, set your goals up. right? If you do those types of things and then you follow it, and again, the work brings profit. So you actually take the action, you do the steps, that's going to lead to excellent results. But if you just go after things hastily, fast, uh, and you're not paying attention to what you're doing, you didn't have any goals, you just start going like a bulldozer, like you're a bull in a china shop, right? And you're not going to create good results. You might have some results, but everything's going to break. Colossians 3:23, that's a good one, says whatever you do, work at it with all your heart. And I think that's super important as working for the Lord, not for human masters. And so I think it's really important to have a greater purpose in what you do, and whether that's for God, whether that's for whatever it might be. Maybe it's for your kids. Maybe it's for um, just something that you're passionate about, a charity that you're passionate about, you know, cancer research, whatever it might be, right? If that's what's going to truly drive you. You're not going to be driven to create and to work with all your heart in whatever you do if you're just doing it for others, if you're just doing it for because you're told to do so, I should say, or if you're just doing it for your own selfish needs. I think that's also important. Um, for me, I feel like what I create is I'm working for God. It's all His in the end, and I'm a steward of what I've been given and what I create. Um, I am a firm believer that I was born with talents, and I believe that God gave me those talents and opportunity and abundance, and I need to make sure that I'm harvesting that. And I think all of us were born with talents. All of us were born with certain things that we can leave a mark on this world in a positive way. And I think it's really important for us to actually do that. I think it's really valuable for you to take the time and the energy and the thought and go, what uniqueness can I add? What things can I do? For me, it's look, when we buy these apartment buildings, we're not just buying an apartment building. We're buying a house. We're buying a home for somebody, right? So these people, I've got, thousands of residents that live in my properties and thousands, tens of thousands, right, that live there throughout the years. And they pay good money to live in these properties. They pay really good money to live in these properties. That's their paycheck, big portion of it, a third or more goes to their housing needs. And so it is my duty, our duty, to be able to make sure we're taking care of these residents, to do an excellent job taking care of these residents and taking care of the properties, providing them good, clean housing, something that they can be proud of to bring, mom and dad to, or friends to, or whoever it might be, something that they're not embarrassed about because it's dirty, because it's like the grounds are terrible, it's just a nasty place, maintenance and repairs aren't getting taken care of. Um, Again, they're paying us really good money, so how are we taking care of them? And as an owner of thousands of apartment units, I'm affecting a lot of people, and I need to do it in a positive way, and I need to do it in a way that you know God would be proud of how we're doing it. Um, we're renovating a lot of these units too, and there's a couple things with the renovations that comes with the territory a little bit. But first of all, we're taking properties that are just outdated, maybe dirty. My favorite kind of properties are, like 99 lofts that we bought. And if you follow me on LinkedIn, you've been seeing what we've been doing there. It's 65% occupied, just completely nasty, a complete disaster. We actually had actually just over 50% of the residents that were living there, they continue to live there in the newly renovated units at the higher rents because they were so excited about what we did. Um, but we're taking a nasty unit and we're bringing it back to life and creating a beautiful home for somebody to live in and to enjoy and to be a part of. Um, we're charging more rent, and so you've kind of got to balance that equation. But we're not gouging people for the product that we're providing. We feel like we're providing excellent value for what they're giving and get what they're getting. And so that I think that's really important in how we take care of other people. So, yeah, anyways, that was my daughter's question. Um, I guess, there's certainly more, probably, but really what drives me, how does God influence your work? Again, it's for me, it is the core values that I have, that I've learned through my faith journey. And it always is growing and evolving, by the way. But my core values certainly haven't changed, but they maybe strengthened um, throughout the years. And that's really what drives how I look at everything I do. In fact, not just my work, not just my business, but I try to drive that in everything I do. And of course, I always make mistakes, right? I make mishaps and with raising my kids, with how I, show up for my wife and treat her, how I show up for my health and how I show up in my business. I'm constantly certainly making mistakes in that, but I'm always trying to figure out how to get better. And for me, praying to get better and focusing on how can I be one step better every single day? How can I just get a little bit better at the things that I am struggling on to create a better version of myself every single day? The slate is wiped clean every morning when you wake up, and that's the beautiful thing. If you have, faith, is that the slate is wiped clean, and you can go out and you can create a better version of yourself every single day, and that's a beautiful thing. All right, that's all I got for today. You have a fantastic rest of the day. Look, live your core values, do what's true to you, and follow that. Take action, of course, and you're going to get some beautiful results that you're going to be excited about, passionate about, and can really enjoy and be proud of the rest of your life.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. I appreciate you being a loyal listener. Say, I would love to have you go on to our Facebook page and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Go on to iTunes or wherever you listen and give us a rating and review. Don't forget to subscribe. Your rating and review just helps us push this out to more and more people and continue to grow our audience and hopefully positively affect a ton of people out there that really need this and want this. So the other thing I've got for you is a free ebook on my website. So go on to venturedproperties.com, and download our free ebook on real estate and on syndication. And I've got some data points in there, some really good stuff for you. So I'd love to have you take a look at that. It's free. I'm not expecting anything from it. And also, look, if you want some help in multifamily, want some help learning, growing, getting your business off the ground, I would love to talk to you about what it would look like to work with me potentially and see if that's a good fit. So you can go to coachwithdex.com and check that out, and we can definitely have a call. Thanks a lot for listening. You make it a fantastic rest of the day. I'll catch you on the next episode.